Talk365TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Brain Rehab Clinic with wellness team expert Dr. John Hatch.
Hey everybody, welcome to Talk365TV's Talking Wellness series. As promised, we are back at Brain Rehab Clinic with Dr. John Hatch. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
I'm so excited to be here because misophonia has been a topic that I have learned because I know you.
Thank you.
And there is some latest research that has just come out this year that proves what you've been doing since 2017. Articles were coming out on mirror neurons in 2012, and then this recent article in 2021. And somehow in there, you bridged all of this information in a way that no other clinician had before. And then moving forward, you've just now proven it with this latest article.
Yeah, what's been amazing is I started with this at 2017. I didn't know what misophonia was until a patient came in and presented it to us. And then I started doing studying and research and understanding the brain and started figuring out the ways to rehab this. And then in the last year, I've really discovered how much mirror neurons and empathy plays a big part in this. And what's incredible is just in the most recent article and just this year, it validated everything that I've been studying and researching. It's great because I'm a practitioner. I'm not a research specialist, so I don't have the time to sit here and research it or publish my research. I'm trying to get people better every single day. And what's incredible is now people are coming in that don't even realize they have misophonia, and then we're manifesting, hey, these are true signs of misophonia, so we know when it's misophonia or when it's the other variables of sound sensitivity and visual sensitivities.
What would you say differentiates the most between just someone, because I know we've said this before, oh, it does bug me when people smack, and you're like, yeah, but you're not miso.
Yep.
So what's the difference?
And so what the difference is there's twofold. There's a huge emotional reaction to the individual trigger, whether that's visual or sound, and it's repetitive, it's constant. Like fingers on a chalkboard, a knife or a fork on a plate, that's pretty common. A lot of people don't like those sounds, don't have those reactions to. But miso is very specific, it's very triggered and it's very regular. And then it's just it's almost spreads. It starts with one person and then it becomes multiple. And then it goes from sound to visual or visual to sound. Where if you watch someone scrape their knife across the fork, it would have no reaction to you. If you saw someone just rubbing their hands on the chalkboard, but you didn't hear it, you would just look at it like, oh, they must not be touching their nails. You wouldn't recognize it, but misophonia has this having a direct autonomic concomitant that we call a fight or flight reaction within the amygdala that brings this fear and this trepidation experience. Some people always think it's anger or rage, but that's not the case. I've had patients that literally cry when they see a trigger and they melt down, and it's not an anger frustration, rage monster. Is that most common? Absolutely.
Well, so in 2012, the mirror neurons thing came out, and that was a game changer. And then this last article, what was your journey through there? Because obviously you were paying attention to mirror neurons and the way they work. First, let's explain what they are.
Yeah, so mirror neurons are just neurons that allow you to mimic one another. If I scratch my forehead right now, your brains are all activating as if your forehead's scratched. And then if you don't like that sensation, you quickly check your own head. It's the same reason why if someone goes like this, everyone checks their nose.
Immediately.
It's a mirror neuron, right? But we also have mirror neuron pain pathways that are different, similar to a male getting hit inappropriately, and all men are like, ooh, right?
I get that when I see someone hurt.
Yep.
Silvia and I were talking about that. She gets it if someone gets a poke.
Yep.
If I see somebody hurt, it's like, ugh.
Yep, it has a reaction.
Weird.
So we all have these neurons. It's just why is there so many of us that don't have misophonia? Right. So we know mirror neurons are used on neurological development, which is why the miso world never really connected mirror neurons to misophonia, because they just assume, well, everyone has mirror neurons, everyone uses them, so what would make miso more activated? Until this most recent article, which is what was so incredible when I digested it, my brain went right back to that 2012 article about mirror neurons and how they work together, because now things are becoming more visual and where it activates on the brain, and that's very detailed to what misophonia people go through within mirror neurons and empathy and other variations that can cause major imbalances for people.
Right. And you were saying when you don't have misophonia, like if your head itches, I see you itch your head and then it's like a second wave of, but wait, that's not my head, and they're lacking that.
Yep.
Right.
There's
so
a
it's
pathway that activates within the motor system saying, hey, that's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they tie it a lot with empathy, because an empath has a really hard time separating someone else's suffering and their own.
Right.
And if it's not theirs, they're trying to get rid of it, which is why someone gets instant anger or frustration or emotion, but they didn't do anything. The individual can usually do the very thing that triggers them and have no reaction because it's truly them doing it.
Yeah. And it's interesting too because it is based on certain people often. So like not a girlfriend, but a mom. And you've been able to isolate and treat exactly for the person that's bugging them, that tone, that sound, whatever that is, and find the root of it through all of your studies. How have you done this? How have you known what to do? I'm just gonna ask the hard question because it's like, do you have a crystal ball in the background?
No, not exactly.
Special Yoda?
I just look at it as there's a solution to every problem. And there has to be an answer. If your brain created it, your brain can rewire it. So that's how I see the world. Whatever I'm addressing, whatever I'm facing, why did the brain create that? What was it lacking when it created that? And is it possible to revert it and change it and reconnect the brain, even with mirror neurons?
Let's talk about your 5 days here that you recommend people come in, especially if you've got misophonia. You're going to want to spend some time initially up front. Let's talk about how that works and what people can do to get in here to come see you.
Absolutely. So I've been in practice 9 years, and my biggest goal in life is to get you better as fast as you possibly can. And in the 9 years, I have seen plans where I see you once a week, once a month, once every 3 months. And because we can use assessment tools, not based on symptoms, but based on actual brain function, if I don't see a change, you just wasted your time and your money. That doesn't work for me. I want to be a doctor who helps people. That's why I do what I do. And so what I've seen so recently as we've moved to a week intense where I can see them every single day, and the diagnostics or the assessment tools allow me to assess the brain every day, changing exercises, changing programs, making it specific to you. That's what makes the difference. That's why for some patients, they'll leave and they'll come back 3 months later, 6 months later, and we do another round. And based on the new findings, they're totally different brain exercises. And that was the final piece that changed it for them. And so for me, the more I can get, the more I can see change, the greater the outcome is for you as the individual.
So really they're coming in here every day for 5 days. They're going to be tested, retested each day. They're going to get new tweaks to their exercises and as well as the treatments that you have here, because you have state-of-the-art equipment that is only here. I mean, the gyrostim, there's like 22 on the planet. One is here. So I'd strongly encourage you to go to their website, get the Misophonia webinar. You'll learn a lot of information. It's a 2-parter. He gives exercises. Those exercises that are in there are pretty basic for, like you're saying, for anyone who has it. But again, if you're wanting all of the exercises, there's no way you could just have them without coming here to be able to have your own custom plan that's going to actually help you, because you can't do somebody else's exercises. In fact, it's so detrimental. I mean, you can have reverse effects. It's very dangerous if people are just passing them out. The ones he did are very specific and very entry level. And then basically from there, it's based on you. Coming in here every day for 5 days. For the most part, you have people flying from all over the world to come see you.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing I've learned is in the last 2 years, there's more brain exercises. We're discovering more things to rehab the 3 areas of the brain that aren't working, which separates. All right, I'm an empath. I have mirror neurons. Why do I not have misophonia? I never have and never will, because the other 3 pathways are working, which we go over in high depth in that webinar. And the reason why is because you fix those 3, you train the brain to understand mirror neurons and empathy, and you can separate it. And you can get the brain to literally turn off an incomplete trigger. And we've seen it better now than ever before. And again, in my world, you can always improve the brain. Even old patients, I look back and I'm like, ooh, if I had just this exercise, if I had this pathway, this would work even better for them, because I'm constantly learning. We're learning things that I didn't know 2 years ago. It's just nice to have the research validate it.
Yeah,
So
well, because your boots on the street. every day with people in front of you, like Jackson, who came in, and he is just this incredible kid from a year's time. He came in and needed to be escorted in the back. Everybody had to like pretty much stay away. You couldn't even talk to him.
I couldn't talk to him.
You pretty much were on a whiteboard and note paper the entire time. To a year later, he was here, he was talking to everybody. He is the cutest, most amazing, I shouldn't say cutest, most handsome young man out there in the world, like living his best life now, has a girlfriend. I mean, and to listen to his mom's testimonial and hear her say, it's like having my child. I can see who he is on the inside. That's the thing with what you do that I think is the most fascinating and probably the most rewarding, to see the testimonials and see the people go through, because they come in here and the parents think it's a choice because they're like naughty or they're misbehaving, or you know, they have a rage problem, they're a rage monster, they have this big dark secret. And it's like, no, it's like, I remember you explained it in the miso webinar. It's if a bird zinged by your ear, you would jump, or if a baseball was coming at your head, you would move. That is their reaction time. There is no reaction time, but you can reverse it through the exercises, through the equipment you have here, through the testing that you do. And that's what's so impressive.
The best part is hope isn't lost because you suffered. The question is, what are you going to do to change? We know we have the tools to change it. If you're willing, we will see the change. It's not a question in my mind. It will change if we fix it.
I love that so much. Well, Dr. Hatch, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We love to come down here so much because brain hacks and the world of functional neurology is ever changing. 2 years, we're like, I mean, we're still on track, but it's like everything changes and moves and shakes so fast. It's such a fun, evolving practice to be a part of. And then in misophonia, obviously, you have been a leader in this field, and it's been a privilege to know you. And I know for these people who are coming to you as their last hope, you are a godsend. And so thank you for your hard work, and thank you for all you do here. And in the meantime, go check out their website for more information. There's a ton of content there on miso with Dr. Hatch. He dives into these articles more. You can find the links to the articles as well, and then get the webinar. If you are someone who's suffering, don't suffer, as Dr. Hatch said, get in here. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for joining us. We'll be right back on Talk365 TV right after this.